Hey everyone, this is Bradley with Stack Coaching. It is our Thursday office hours. We have some questions for us. We got Terry on the line. We got Dylan in here. Kelsey's popping in right now. So good to go. And remember, we are recording these every Thursday. So if you can't make it, they'll always be available on our YouTube channel and within our Facebook group. So Terry, I know you messaged me a question. It was extensive, but I want you to say it in your words, okay?
Okay, so basically the past couple of months have had me at a point in my life where things were just, everything was overwhelming. Like emotionally, physically, I just wasn't able to do anything. So I kind of let go of working out. I dropped counting my macros. I did the best I could to, I guess, use visually adequate portions, but I'll be honest, I just didn't have the mental capacity or energy to really focus on my nutrition.
Okay.
I'm struggling trying to get back into it. And I guess what I want to know is are you better when you've taken that kind of hiatus, going right back into counting macros from where you were, or should you start just like starting over again?
Yeah. Okay. All right. Let me start off with this. During that time where you were struggling, okay, were you weighing yourself daily?
In the beginning, I was, and that even that kind of slacked off, but not altogether.
Okay. How was your weight reacting during that when you were still weighing?
In all honesty, I was losing weight because I really wasn't eating.
Okay.
So I mean, the scale looked great.
Right. How did you feel?
I was horrible. I was no energy, no drive, I mean, I did what I had to do and nothing beyond that. So really, I kind of stopped going to the gym because I just didn't even have the energy to wake up in the mornings.
Have you weighed yourself recently?
Yeah.
And it's up or same, down, what?
From during that time period or from like before everything started going to hell?
From when you weighed yourself last, and then like, so at the beginning of this stressful period of your life to now?
I'm up probably about 5 pounds.
Okay. All right, cool. All right. So let's dive into this a little bit. So I'm gonna just summarize this again. Terry went through a rough time in her life, emotionally, physically stressful, the whole gamut. Okay. And during that time frame, sounds to me, you went through a little bit of a habit dip. The problem with a habit dip is the longer we stay in a habit dip, the longer it becomes ingrained in us. And now it's not a dip. It just is what we are. Right. Okay. Right. And so the only way to get out of it is to create new habits. Okay. One of the reasons that exercise is a core habit of Stack Coaching is because all these things go hand in hand. Right. I talk all the time about how we want to divorce fitness from nutrition when it comes to weight loss. And the reason why is because if we are constantly chasing calories with fitness, we're never going to catch them. We have to maintain that via fitness. Okay. That is one way of looking at it. There's a whole other side. Okay. And the other side is that keeping a habit of working out every day can motivate us to stay with our nutrition. And that's why it's important to also keep them together. So while I want you to separate them over here in terms of calories and burning calories, in terms of lifestyle, they need to stay together. Okay. And so I was thinking about this the other day. Okay. This question is kind of perfect. Okay. I was thinking about creating healthy habits where exercise fits in, because I do not believe that you need to work out at the gym every day. Okay. I am not a believer in that. I believe in rest. I believe in variety. However, I believe in staying active every single day. So if a rest day is us just laying on a couch all day, it may not be conducive to us keeping our habit up. And some of us are different than others. Some people can work out 4 times every week, no matter what, and they can stick with it, okay? And there are other people that need to do it every single day in order to keep it going, okay? Just like for me, I had to weigh and track my food every day because I was sure of it. If I stopped, I would be heading back in a direction that I didn't want to be in, okay? There are other people that can go on and off. We're all different, okay? So Terry, what I need you to find, okay, is what will keep you on task on a daily basis. The reason I bring this up is because I was thinking about that in terms of exercise and going to the gym. What if we can't make it to the gym, okay? Then what we do is, Terry, I believe you work out every morning, right?
Right now I'm at 4 times a week.
Right, but you work out in the morning.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So what I would tell you to do is have your morning routine be working out before you go to work. Okay. So that means if you need to sleep in or you don't feel like going out of bed, that's fine. All right. But I want you to find 10 to 15 minutes to where you can do something at your house, and we can all do something at our house. And that is just keeping the habit together. So you're familiar with what we do at Stacked. We incorporate a lot of EMOMs, AMRAPs, stuff like that. So you could set a clock for 15 minutes. You could pick 3 movements and say, I'm going to do, 15 air squats. I'm going to hold a 30-second plank, and I'm going to do, 20 quadruped shoulder taps. Minute 1, minute 2, minute 3, repeat that for 15 minutes. There's a full body workout, okay, that you just did, and you can squeeze in 15 minutes before you go to work. And if you can't, you know where you can do that? In your office.
Yeah.
You can. No one's going to know. You lock in 15 minutes, boom. But the idea of just doing 15 minutes, while some people might say, that really doesn't do anything. Well, it does. It keeps you on task for having exercise or activity every single day. So it keeps the habit up. Okay. And sometimes we need to do things that we don't want to do.
Right.
All the time. I just got back from vacation. Okay. And we got up at 6:30 on vacation every single day and went to the gym. On vacation. Okay. It wasn't my idea of what I wanted to do, but I did it. Okay. And I felt better every single time I went. Right. And so some of the times we need to make ourselves do these things in order to keep everything together. So if that is setting a second alarm on your phone, that is your exercise alarm that is labeled exercise, boom. If that means putting it in your calendar the day before or scheduling out every single day to where like, oh, I'm not going to make it to the gym, or this is my scheduled rest day. Well, I'm going to schedule in 20 minutes or 15 minutes of an at-home EMOM or exercise, or I'm going to wake up and I'm just going to go walk for 15 minutes and then come back and get ready for work. Okay. But either way, keeping up that daily task is going to keep everything else together so that we don't fall into a habit dip. Your question was about tracking macros. I'm getting there. All right. So no. I noticed the habit dip and I want to keep people in there because I know Dylan said he's in that same category. He recently went through a habit dip and we're trying to get him back on track right now. So the question is, do I just jump right back into my old targets or what?
Basically start from scratch and then almost like starting over.
I would start from scratch. Okay. And the reason why is there are things called metabolic adaptations where your body adapts to a new maintenance level. Maintenance is a moving target. Okay. Our maintenance calories is a moving target constantly throughout our entire lives. And it doesn't take long to change maintenance. Okay. So if we spend a few months eating less than what we were doing before, our body adapts to that and we have a new maintenance level. Okay. And so now it's quite easy to eat over that maintenance and gain weight, right? Or in order to lose weight, we need to really cut to get back up. So the only way to know that is to start fresh, track for 7 days, see what your daily weight's doing, and then make a strategy based off of that.
Okay.
Is that helpful?
Yes, it is. Thank you.
Awesome. Dylan, I know you're in the car. Do you have any questions? Okay. All right. So the last few months have been super inconsistent, constant travel, eating out. Well, I'll wait for Dylan to finish his question. Terry, you did have one other question that you did message the group. It was nighttime sweet tooth.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So I actually just had this conversation with one of my clients. We were in a check-in and he was drinking a Coke, and I talked about switching to Diet Coke because there are no known bad health effects from drinking Diet Coke. It's just not true. Okay. In fact, all it does do is save you calories. All right.
Right.
And so I said the only danger is if you drink a ton of Diet Coke. All right. And now all of a sudden you want to eat more sweets because of it, because you're drinking a lot. So when we are tracking macros, it's really easy to control our nighttime sweet tooth. Why? Because we have parameters in place. Okay. Those parameters are, I only have this much food or this many calories left to eat. That's all I can eat. I can eat whatever I want. I'll squeeze it into that. Boom. It's over. Go to bed. Right. If we
That's part of the problem.
Right. If we don't have those parameters in place, then we need to change our cravings. Okay. And it's simple steps, right? So what you would want to do is find something that has less sugar that is still kind of sweet. All right. Like for me, when I wasn't tracking macros or I didn't have a ton of calories, I was eating grapefruit. It was still a little sweet. Okay. It had fiber in it. All right. It made me feel full and it got the job done in terms of my cravings.
Okay.
For some people, it's switching to dark chocolate. For some people, it is eating protein with a little stevia sweetened protein powder in it with frozen fruit, which is better.
Okay.
It's better to eat protein than carbs and fats, right? So it's changing little by little the things we're eating to maybe something less sweet to cut down those cravings. And eventually you can wean yourself off, or you don't need to because you've completely replaced it.
Okay. So, so drinking, or because I generally do not drink a lot of soft drinks. I just generally prefer water. During this past couple of months, I've probably had more Coke Zeros in the past couple of months than I've had in the past year.
Okay.
So could that be part of why I'm having this?
How many Coke Zeros you had a day?
Generally just one.
No, that's not doing that. What are you eating at night?
Well, it kind of varies usually. Well, I'm not counting or whatever. I'm trying to keep the meals to protein, vegetable, and carbs. I've not been as diligent about my vegetables as I should be. So I'm trying to add more of those in.
Right. Sorry.
Really, that couple of months, I was
Right.
lucky if I even had dinner.
Yeah. Let me rephrase that question. What are you doing to satisfy your nighttime sweet tooth right now?
Ice cream.
Ice cream. Okay. Why are you eating ice cream?
Because it's in the freezer.
In the freezer. Okay. All right.
I like it.
Right. Because you like it and it's in the freezer. Okay. All right.
Yes.
That's a perfect. So Coke Zero did not make you pull that ice cream out, right?
Yeah.
We all love ice cream. We've eaten ice cream our entire life. It's sitting in the freezer. It's an easy target. You're probably feeling sorry for yourself because you're not doing all the things that you've wanted to do the past few months. And you're in that fuck it type of mode, right? And you're like, I'm just gonna eat this ice cream. I don't care. Maybe is that
Probably, yeah.
okay? So step one would be to throw the ice cream out and not have it. Okay. I know your husband probably would not be super happy about that.
Yeah, it's, and I tend to buy flavors that my husband and my kids like more than me to do it, but I've found that I've just kind of just said screw it and been eating it anyway.
Okay, so
but yeah, no, not just me in the house, and I buy it mostly for them.
all right, I want you to do two things. Okay.
Okay.
The first one would be, I want you to find something that's just for you to satisfy your nighttime sweet tooth craving that you feel would be appropriate for your nutrition plan.
Okay.
All right. The second thing is, I want you to change your language around how you approach that ice cream. Okay. And that is,
Okay.
not, I can't have this ice cream because it's not part of my nutrition plan. It's, I don't want this ice cream because it's not part of my nutrition plan. The difference is, you are choosing not to have it because it's not part of your nutrition plan. Okay. It's not being taken away from you. You can have ice cream whenever you want it, but you have the ability and the power to assert that willpower and not eat that ice cream by saying, I don't want this. And I know you can do it. Okay. It takes a little bit of practice. Okay. It takes practice.
That's going to be a tough. Yes. And that's it. I had kind of gotten to that point prior to all of this. Is I could keep the ice cream and I'd have it when I wanted it, if I wanted it. And I was really good about, one scoop or so much of it. And lately it just seems that that serving is no longer satisfying enough. And I keep wanting more. And I am not asserting my willpower.
Yeah. Terry, do you remember
not having? I'm just like,
do you remember back when you started, because you were a stagnant client for a while, right?
Going on almost 3 years. Yeah.
Yeah. When you started your journey, what type of changes did you have to make mentally to go from eating the ice cream to not eating the ice cream?
I'll be honest, it's kind of hard to remember because it was I took it and deliberately I've been with Stack as long as I have, because I wanted it to be a slow, progressive process. So it was just sort of little by little easing into taking just a little bit less and saying, hey, I can have it. I don't have to eat this much of it though. And so it was just trying to, I guess, utilize what was being taught in the beginning about really enjoying what I was eating at the time I was eating it, taking the time, not rushing through it. And that seemed to work. And I guess and this is where I'm struggling. I'm having a hard time mentally getting back to that thought process.
Okay.
It's been a lot of more negative than positive.
Okay. All right. So there's a couple of different things we can do. Okay. We can do the things we just listed, right? Like is finding swaps, right? Like these are Terry's nighttime sweets. Okay. All right. And these are the things you go to, or you could take the approach you took when you originally started and go back to that, which is I normally eat 2 scoops of ice cream. I'm going to eat 1 scoop. Okay. And you can even schedule it out. Like create a plan. You're a planner. Schedule that shit out. I'm going to eat 1 scoop of ice cream every night this week. Next week, I'm going to eat half a scoop. Okay. And then as you start to cut down your ice cream, instead of just cutting down the ice cream, add something else. All right. So what kind of ice cream do you normally eat?
You mean brand or the flavors?
Flavor.
Currently it is coffee and chocolate peanut butter overload.
Sounds good. Sounds really good. Okay. So as you cut down to what would actually, I think this would probably work in my head. Okay. And you can try it. All right. Is as you cut down to a half scoop, instead of just eating or 1 scoop instead of 2, Instead of eating 2 scoops, you can eat 1 scoop and then a bunch of cut up strawberries in that same bowl, mix it up. So you still have the volume of food you're eating and you can have look forward to that time period, but it's less of the ice cream.
Okay.
Or something that is not as highly caloric, something that is nutrient dense that you add to your ice cream situation instead of just removing the ice cream.
Okay. I was thinking, and I don't know if you tried this or if anybody who sees this has tried it, can post about it. Whereas you kind of make your own ice cream, they used to call it like kick can ice cream. And I've done it with my kids where you basically take milk and I could use the non-fat milk. You add a little bit of sweetener to it. I thought about it, like adding a little cocoa powder and maybe the chocolate peanut butter powder to it to kind of give me that chocolate peanut butter ice cream thing. And then you throw it in a bag with ice. You put it in a small bag, in a bag with ice, and then you just sort of smush it around a little bit and you get kind of a soft serve ice cream. Which would cut the calories. And
whatever you need to do it. That's what I would say.
Okay.
And like substitutions are good all the time. I make protein shakes at night sometimes as well. I use chocolate protein powder, powdered peanut butter, okay, 2 ounces of oat milk, a shit ton of ice. All right. Sometimes I put strawberries or bananas in it and just enough to give it the taste, a little bit of avocado for smoothness, and it makes like a chocolate shake. Not a smoothie, like a chocolate shake. It tastes like dessert. Okay. And it's way less caloric. It's got a ton of protein in it, which is going to be beneficial for fat burning. All right. So that's another thing you can do. Like it could be, you want something cold and that tastes sweet. It doesn't have to be the ice cream. It could be something else that you make that is better for you.
Okay.
All right. I'm going to move on. Okay. Dylan has some questions. All right. He put them in the chat. He said last few months have been super inconsistent, and he can't ask because he's currently driving back. Okay, he's in a van right now. Last few months have been super inconsistent, constant travel, eating out. I lost the drive to keep tracking even at home. I have a tendency to binge eat when I'm not tracking or I'm stressed or tired. My cravings are wild right now. I know it's a large part, it's a discipline issue, but it's very hard when you're surrounded by people who don't understand the lifestyle change or have obligations that take me out of my element. What are some techniques or habits that can help me mitigate the burnout from work life or travel life imbalance? This is probably a question that pertains to almost anyone. Okay. He says the binge eating is either unconscious or semi-conscious. I know the when in Rome saying applies to the occasional indulgence, but what happens when you're always in Rome? I like that. Okay. I'm also having problems getting back to my thought process from when I started. I've become more negative and defeatist, and it's hard not to think, why bother tracking, working out, etc. Whenever the week I'm having to uproot myself and go out of town. All right. Thanks, Dylan. Okay. So we talk about this a lot with our tracking clients. Okay. Whereas when to take your scale with you when you're going out of town. Right? Like if I'm going on vacation and it's a family vacation and I go on vacation once every 6 months, I'm not taking my scale with me. Okay. If I am out of town every week for work and it's 4 days, I am taking my scale with me and I am figuring out how to live this lifestyle while I'm out of town. Okay. Now in Dylan's case here, all right, weighing and tracking does not seem like it is possible in his current situation. Okay. But what he needs to do, or what we all need to do, okay, when we're in situation, he says, what happens, and I love this, what happens when you're always in Rome, okay? Well, what we need to do is create a new set of parameters or a new baseline or a new little bit better approach that can be adjusted and fit to that scenario, all right? And so it might not be a situation where we can weigh and track and be super specific and controlled, okay, for our nutrition lifestyle, okay? But what it can be is like, we might have to recognize that at this moment in our life, those things aren't possible. But what is possible is for you to make a small, little bit better step every week. And knowing that right now I'm going nowhere fast, okay? So I can't expect for my life to be different in a month, right? But what if I looked at the next 6 months of the next year and I said, if I just make these little bitty changes every week, in a year from now, I'm going to build up the habits to keep me sustained for a lifestyle, okay, or a lifetime, right? And so right now, if it is binge eating, okay, it's looking at what are the triggers that are causing me to binge eat, all right? Starting there, okay, like, and write it down, like, oh my God, I just binge eat. That's fine. Every experience is a learning experience. What caused me to binge eat? What was I thinking? What was I doing? The first step would be changing those things. Okay. Now it's hard. He says, being surrounded by certain people that don't support or live this type of lifestyle. Okay. That's a tough one. And that's one that we find often when we go to family members' houses for parties or stuff like that. And you have your aunt or your cousin or a friend, and they're like, just eat this. Why don't you eat this? You know, or, you know, oh, sorry, that's not in your diet, or all those bullshit things that people tell you because they don't feel comfortable you eating healthy because they feel self-conscious or guilty themselves eating that stuff. So they want to drag you down with them. Right. There's a simple way to handle this, Dylan. Okay. And we're adults. So if you look at that person and say, look, I'm recognizing some really self-destructive behaviors right now when it comes to my eating, okay? And I'm trying to make a change for the better of my life. Do you support me in that or not? They are never going to tell you no. And if they say, I support you and you making changes to make your life better, then they have to live it. They're not going to say anything. They just verbalized it to you. And if they say, no, I don't support you, then stop fucking hanging out with those people. All right. Or like, don't do things. You got to do work, you do work, and then that's it. It's out, you're a loner after. Okay. But it's sometimes it's changing our environment or asking those people, verbalizing to those people what we are trying to accomplish and why it's so important to us. Don't be afraid of that. Don't be afraid to tell people of what your goals and why you're trying to accomplish them. Okay. I let people in on my fears all the time. I live that way. And some of that is hard for other people to do, but we need to verbalize sometimes our support and why we need it. Okay. And Dylan, when it comes to having a negative or defeatist attitude, okay, start back with finding one bright spot or one positive thing each day and writing it down. Maybe you keep a little book or a little journal or notes on your phone of what we'll call your positivity book or your positivity journal, and you write down one thing every day that you were thankful for or something that was amazing or great that happened in your day. Okay. And it could be simple as I watched the show on Netflix and it was really funny and I laughed out loud all to myself. Even if that's the case, that's a little bit of joy that you write down, and you can start stacking up and seeing all the bright spots in your day as you reflect upon that journal every week. And that will start to change your mindset about this. All right. Positivity breeds success. And sometimes we have to fake it till we make it. All right. I'm going to get to Jean's question, or Kelsey, do you have any questions? No. All right. Janet, do you have any questions? All right, I'm gonna get to Jean's, and we'll end on Jean's. Jean had a question in the Facebook group. She said, carb cycling. She's interested in doing carb cycling. What are the do's and don'ts? How long should someone do it? Okay, all right. At the end of the day, okay, in order for us to lose weight, gain weight, whatever, it's all about calories in, calories out. Okay, I've said this a million times. All right, body composition comes down to macronutrient profiles and resistance training. Okay. So what does carb cycling actually do? Okay. For most of us, all right, it creates more food variety on certain days and keeps things interesting. That's it. Because when I carb cycle somebody, I take their average calories and then I divide it up among the days. Some days are high, some days are low, but the average calories are the same whether they are carb cycling or it's evened out across 7 days. All right. So do's and don'ts, okay, if we want to get into it, don'ts would be, don't try to have 4 or 5 low days in a row because you're going to want to eat your arm off. All right. So the contrary would be having 3 high days in a row and then having 4 low days in a row. You don't want to do that because you're going to be hungry all the time. All right. From a performance standpoint, okay, there is some benefit, but it's very personal as to whether you want to have more carbs before a hard workout or more carbs with recovery for that workout. But it's different for everyone, and it's something you just have to experiment with. And in terms of how long someone should do it, as long as you want to. There's no right or wrong answer to that. I jump back and forth between even days and carb cycling. Okay. You can carb cycle when it comes to, like, I know Jean's in a band. If she's got like a bunch of events coming up, be like, I want to carb cycle during these. And when my life chills out, I want to be even. That way, on days that she has big events, she can enjoy herself more with a higher calorie count. Okay. But in terms of weight loss and really body composition, there's no difference between even calories and doing carb cycling. It just makes life more fun. So that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and we'll see you next Thursday. Bye, y'all.